Greetings from the Appalachian High Country of Boone, North Carolina. My name is Jed Hewitt, and this is Week 5's Conservation Science discussion on ecosystem services, placing a value on nature and our environment. I decided to use a Fraser fir Christmas tree stand as the background and case study for this discussion. A comparison will be made between an untouched, deciduous, temperate forest and a local Christmas tree farm occupying the same cleared land. Value is the estimate of worth that an item holds. According to Daly's assigned reading, if individuals could recognize the value of nature, this would greatly increase investments in conservation while fostering human well-being. The challenge is how do we as citizens and community members place a value on the environment, which I consider is priceless and invaluable. Let me first discuss the value of a natural, unaltered Appalachian forest ecosystem. Based on the assigned Costanza reading, the natural capital and ecosystem services offered from this forest would include gas regulation, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide balance from the photosynthesis of the forest, disturbance regulation, protection from strong winds, snowfalls. There's also water regulation, which is the forest involvement in the water cycle directly. Here in Appalachia, as you can tell, we have lots of rainfall. In some areas, upwards of 100 inches of rainfall per year, and it's actually raining right now. Also, we can value this forest for soil formation, the decomposition of leaf litter layer, as well as erosion control, sediment retention, and habitat, space for populations of organisms. From my understanding, there are two different kinds of values placed on our environment, intrinsic and instrumental. After reading McGuire, I believe that while intrinsic values are ethical and philosophic, these values are, quote, a vaguely formulated concept. I believe the most universal and tangible values in our society would fall under the category of instrumental values. I feel these values are easier to understand and have a monetary, market-based worth. Instrumental values of this forest include aesthetic, scientific, educational values. One way to place a value on nature is to determine an individual's willingness to pay for ecosystem services. How much would you be willing to pay to hike in an unaltered natural forest? Or, what would you be willing to pay for clean air as a direct benefit from this natural forest? Let me now transition into the values placed on a Fraser fir Christmas tree farm. This Fraser fir Christmas tree farm is grown on the same land as our natural forest. This land has been clear cut and trees have been planted in place. Would the natural capital and ecosystem services be the same after human-influenced farming practices? Farming impacts the oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water cycles. It also impacts soil formation and sediment retention and available habitat. There is also an introduction of fertilizers and pesticides into the system. North Carolina produces 1 out of 5 Christmas trees sold in the United States. Approximately 5 million trees are sold per year worth over $100 million. In North Carolina alone, 50 million trees are grown on 25,000 acres of land currently. Now, there's a monetary value placed on the land, the Christmas tree crop, and the resulting supply-demand market. What are you willing to pay for a Fraser fir Christmas tree? And are the externalities from farming these trees taken into account when the tree is purchased? Let me shed some light on the negative externalities. You decide for yourself if the benefits from a natural Christmas tree outweigh the environmental impacts. Based on my research, tree farmers handle some of the deadliest pesticides allowed by law. Glyphosate, the herbicide in Roundup, has been linked to cancer, irritates the eyes, and is toxic when inhaled. However, the most hazardous pesticide used is dicystone 15G, which has been banned by the EPA and voluntarily discontinued by Bayer Crop Sciences. Chronic effects from exposure include numbness, tingling sensations, headaches, dizziness, tremors, nausea, and blurred vision. However, Christmas tree farmers in North Carolina and coffee growers in Puerto Rico are still allowed to use this chemical in a closed system application. In conclusion, it is difficult at times to place a value on nature and our environment for conservation's sake. I believe that Western society is deeply rooted in monetary values, and market economics control policy decisions. Costanza states, and I quote, "The chains of effects from ecosystem services to human welfare can range from extremely simple to exceedingly complex. Therefore, a cost-benefit analysis should be researched when evaluating the controversial environmental topics." Thank you very much for watching my video, and until next time, goodbye.